Theresa May seeks to regain control of Brexit after court setback. The Prime Minister is facing demands to call a general election after the court case brought by a businesswoman and a hairdresser. Theresa May is attempting to take back control of Brexit after the High Court ruled she needs the support of MPs before starting negotiations to leave the EU. The Prime Minister will speak to European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker this morning to reassure him she still intends to trigger Article 50, the formal process for cutting ties with Brussels, by the end of March. Meanwhile, acting UKIP leader Nigel Farage has added his voice to calls for Mrs May to call an emergency general election following the legal setback. He said she should go to the country even though such a move would be strongly opposed by Conservative and Labour MPs alike. Writing in the Daily Telegraph, Mr Farage said, "It is unlikely that Labour MPs, led by a man they don't believe in, would be keen on facing the likely electoral oblivion that would follow. It also seems likely that some on the Prime Minister's own backbenches, too, are seeking to overrule the will of the British people, would be unlikely to support an early general election either." Sky's Tamara Cohen said many of those in the Tory party she has spoken to think it would be quite a big risk to hold an emergency election. The government immediately announced it will appeal against the High Court ruling and take the matter to the Supreme Court in early December. A Downing Street spokeswoman said Mrs May was keen to tell other European leaders she would stick to the declared timetable for withdrawal. She added, "She will set out what the process is, which is that we are appealing and that we are carrying ahead and sticking to the timetable we have set out. This judgment is not going to derail that." Mr Juncker's spokesman made it clear the phone call was taking place at the request of the PM, not Brussels. But Tory peer Baroness Sweetcraft told the BBC the March deadline for triggering Article 50 now looked like an impossible target. In a sign the government could face difficulties getting legislation through the Lords. She said, "I think that it's only right to delay triggering Article 50 until we have a clearer idea of what it actually entails, and I think there will be others in the Lords who feel the same way." Former Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg also told the BBC MPs and peers could block the process unless the government promises a soft Brexit and potentially a public vote on the final Brexit deal. Jana Miller, the businesswoman who brought the case with hairdresser Dier dos Santos, welcomed the High Court's ruling, saying it would bring sobriety to Brexit proceedings. Opposition leaders Nicola Sturgeon, Tim Farron, and Jeremy Corbyn, who have been calling for Mrs May to lay out her Brexit strategy more clearly, also welcomed the ruling. Labour leader Mr Corbyn said, "It underlines the need for the government to bring its negotiating terms to Parliament without delay." Labour respects the decision of the British people to leave the European Union, but there must be transparency and accountability to Parliament on the terms of Brexit. Sturgeon said Scotland could join the Brexit court battle to make sure Mrs May does not win back the power to trigger Article 50.